now New York Congresswoman Claudia Tenney, and we bring in Brett Velicovich, former Army Special Forces officer, and he is the drone expert. He's also a Fox News contributor. Brett, at the risk of enraging Claudia, I will begin with you because of your deep military knowledge of this. You can bet that she'll be back. But what is going on here? I mean, what is this, Brett? What is happening here?
Well, Larry, one of the things you said at the opening of the show is that we're the greatest technological power in the world.
Yeah.
But the truth is we're not anymore. When it comes to drone technology, we're not. Our military used to dominate the drone airspace. But all this technology now is more accessible than ever, and we've let China lap us because of our archaic laws in the U.S. that have damaged our own domestic drone industry. They're winning the drone race. We need to invest more in this technology fast. And the reason we're having these issues and so many people don't know what's going on is because we haven't made the proper investment in our counter-drone technology and in drone technology space that's needed right now. You know, the Pentagon right now, they're saying, hey, maybe this is manned aircraft. Look, if it was manned aircraft, it's not difficult to ascertain where they came from. They submit flight plans and all this other identifiable information, and that info is not difficult to track. It's public. But the biggest issue here is our government clearly doesn't know what they're doing.
Right.
You know, that's the one fact we can verify. We no longer have control over our airspace, and the lack of adequate response to these drone sightings is allowing a lot of misinformation to spread. Everything now in the sky in New Jersey is a drone. And the government, not just even at the federal level, down to the local and state level, they're all saying many different things that is causing this hysteria, causing this to spread. And it's just a massive danger for what's going on over there. But either way, this is a wake-up call to show that we definitely have some gap in our defenses. And we don't have the sophisticated technology that's out there to help ease the public concerns.
Well, you know, Claudia Tenney, I mean, there's a drone in a movie coming near you, and nobody knows what the hell it is, friend or foe. I mean, if I listen to what Brett just said, okay, and, you know, we know he's the military expert on this, best in the business. How do we know they're not Chinese drones? How do I know that? I remember, you remember, Claudia, we talked about this last year, whenever it was, those Chinese spy satellites coming from Alaska over Montana and the Dakotas. They weren't really intelligence problems. Oops, we said that right until we had to shoot them down off the coast of South Carolina, and it turns out they were spying on us. So how do we know now? How is it possible we don't know anything?
Well, I have to agree with Brett. I mean, we had the Chinese spy balloon, but even before that, we had the hypersonic missile that circled the Earth, and our military didn't even know about it until the Chinese put out a press release. So we are far behind, and that is one of the reasons that President Trump actually created the Space Force, was to invest in this type of, next world technology and the things that we need to keep up with our adversaries. And it's in space. The Space Force just celebrated its 5th anniversary, by the way. And I know that Trump is going to continue to do this. I have the Air Force Research Lab in my backyard. These people would love to see more investment, more technology, but it is inexcusable that our government doesn't know what these drones are. And I don't know how any public official who doesn't know what's going on can get up and say these are no problem. How do they know?
Right.
Were they in a classified setting? How do they know? I mean, I think that's why Americans are legitimately concerned about it, and concerned about, the fact that we don't know what's flying around in space.
Claudia, they're coming up your way. They're coming to Syracuse. They're coming to Colgate. They're coming to upstate New York or something like that. You don't know what. I mean, you got yourself a nice shotgun or do something to protect yourself. I remember the Chinese spy thing last year. I know, listen, my wife's from Montana. We were married in Montana. Those Montana cattle ranches were willing to shoot the thing down right there. No problem. I mean, are we going to have the same thing now? Are we going to have a movie, the war against drones?
You got the Dutton Ranch out there. Huh?
Yes,
your wife's out there. She's out there shooting everything down. Well, that's good to know. Look, it is a real problem, and I think not to get back, but Brett really identified this as it is my son is actually still a major in the Marine Corps, and he's identified all kinds of weaknesses we have. We just passed the NDAA, and we're talking about really becoming streamlined and more efficient, better, more lethal, getting this DEI out of our NDAA, getting the DEI out of our military, and really focusing on the real future future technology that our adversaries, again, are investing in that we're not. So, that's the future. And I really, I don't know. I just think it's inexcusable that any public official would allow this to happen. But let me tell you something. If President Trump were in office right now, I think he should get in now. I can't wait until January 20th. This would not be, there wouldn't be any confusion about this. We would get down to business and find out what's going on, and we wouldn't leave Americans up in the air day in and day out as we are right now.
Well, see, the thing is, Brett, okay, I got to cover this story, not because I want to cover this story, certainly not because I know anything about this story. I know nothing about this story, okay? I have to cover it because it's the hottest story. It's been the hottest story all week. I mean, we had the great Brett Baer was up on the 20th floor sprinting down the hallway because he was getting new news out there. He said to me, it's the hottest story. So if Brett Baer says it was hot, we had to cover it. But he knows a lot more about it than he knows a lot more than I do on many things. But I'm just saying, I'm asking you, Brett, all right, we're falling behind in technology. That is very discouraging. I hear you on that. But in your professional judgment, who, what, what are these drones? What are they? Are they a problem? Are they going to knock into the next air flight from, New York to Miami so somebody doesn't have to pay any income taxes anymore? Should we be worried about China? Should we be worried about Iran? I mean, seriously, what are they?
Well, all of those countries you mentioned have the ability to send drones thousands of miles away into our airspace pretty easily because of the technology that's been developed over the last few years. But I'm realizing more and more with this situation that our own law enforcement doesn't know the rules of engagement for monitoring and downing rogue drones over the U.S. And that's the larger problem. If a drone was flying with a bomb over top of these cities, there really isn't much anyone can do about it with the way the current law stands. And everybody's pointing fingers at, no, it's that person's in charge and that person is the one that has the authorities to do it. No one knows what they're supposed to be doing because the FAA, frankly, has hamstrung a lot of these agencies from understanding how they can even down this technology. And the larger issue is that these drones don't need to be up in the air for more than a few minutes to cause massive damage. I know a lot about what drone technology can do. And if they're collecting on us, it's not just about a high-powered camera staring into a certain area. That's nothing. You can put all kinds of special sensors, payloads to collect data. You can collect cell phone signals, IP addresses, different frequencies. You can pull, nuclear radiation data. All they have to do is be over these sensitive sites for a few seconds and the damage is already done. And so I think we really need to overhaul our national security infrastructure to defend against this because it's not ready for these non-traditional threats. We are not set up to do that. The technology exists to stop this, by the way. We just don't have it at a widespread level. We've got systems out there that can spoof a drone. They can take over the controls. We have systems that can send one drone into another drone and make it explode. We can fry drones in the air. We can jam them. All this stuff exists, but not at a widespread level across the U.S. where everyone's on the same page of what they can use and what the proper authorities are. And we've got to get the folks out there to create laws to make it easier for us to stop this and not just, tell the FBI, hey, you're in charge of the investigation when we're finding out the FBI's entire budget for counter drone technology is only $500,000. They just testified that's their entire budget for counter drone technology. What is that going to do? I mean, so we got to expand it across the board.
Claudia, I'm going to give you the last word on this with great trepidation, because here we are. It's not that I don't believe everything Brett is telling me. I just don't understand it. In other words, how long can this story continue and nothing gets done about it? Claudia Tenney. That's what I meant.
Well,
how long can we, Brett, do we send a drone up and shoot a drone down? Do we get some cattle ranchers from Montana? Do we get more sophisticated equipment? Seriously. I mean, you don't think folks are asking that? Every place here, the city. We haven't had a drone in New York City yet. We have a kind of wannabe drones, but not a real drone. But so they're coming, just like they're coming up into the Finger Lakes up there in New York where you hang out. If somebody's got to do something. You can't go day in and day out. Poor Nate Foy is freezing himself to death covering this story, looking for drones every day, and has no answers.
Yeah, look, again, I can't emphasize enough that we should know what we're doing. We should be investing in the new technologies. We're investing in DEI. We're investing in technologies that aren't really making our lethality greater. We're not giving our warfighters the training they need to do this kind of counterterrorism. This is exactly what's going on across the world. I mean, I'm sitting here with the expert on drones who's actually been engaged in combat on using drones in a combat setting. We have to be ready as a nation, and we obviously. I'm kind of incredulous that only $500,000 has been allotted to the FBI, but I don't know what the other agencies have. There are a lot of bills out there, though, to talk about drone technology and invest in them. I've been working on them since my very first term in Congress, and we've highlighted this a lot. And what ends up getting in the bills and what ends up getting left on the cutting room floor is going to remain to be seen. But yeah. I think this actually is a good thing, Larry, because it highlights a vulnerability we have. So far, nobody's been hurt, but let's make hay out of this. Let's make sure we understand what we're doing and make sure this doesn't happen again. And this is a good thing for lawmakers to be reacting to. But I know nobody wants to tell anyone to panic, but I don't want to hear that everything's going to be fine when we don't know what really is going on. And that's the concern.
I'm not surprised only $500,000 from the FBI. The rest of their budget went to invading Mar-a-Lago and other places that they shouldn't have been invading. So I'll leave it at that. You two are great. Claudia Tenney, thanks ever so much. Brett Velicovich,
Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure to see you both again.